Good evening, church, friends, brothers and sisters, youth. Glory to our God. Before I start talking, I want to say that it's my second time preaching in English, and I always had desire to try. I always wanted to do it more. Not that I don't. I talk to people that I encounter with at work, people that I see. I try to testify about God, about Christ in any way I can, but parents moved here in 1997. I was 13 years old at the time. So I finished 7 years of school in Russia, which really was 6 because we skipped 4th. So 6 years in Russia, and then 6 years here. So I always joke about it. I didn't really finish Russian and didn't completely learn English. So I always combine two languages together. I read Bible in Russian, but it's always a good opportunity. First time we were in Mexico with a group of youth a few years ago, and they asked to share the word. Obviously, I couldn't speak Spanish, so I had to talk in English. We had a translator guy named Louis. He used to live in Los Angeles, but he was deported to Mexico back for gang, for drugs, and he was in a rehab center, and he was really passionate translator. Little Mexican kid, and big green jeans, and big white t-shirt, and you say glory to Jesus, and he says glory to Jesus, and the whole church sitting, don't know what's going to happen. So it was a good experience. So excuse my language if I make mistakes, if I don't put sentences together properly, have mercy on me. Today is another great day. We had already good service in the morning. Brother Peter told us, about the importance of having that gap of generations, how important it is for church to stick together, youth, teenagers, kids, married couple, older, to have same mind, same understanding. That's where our strength is. That's where we could support each other. And then Brother Nikolai, he was talking about, path to follow Jesus. How important that is to be on that path, for it not to be just look like it, but really the way how you live. I'm going to read first passage from Word that is written in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 24 and 25. All people are like grass, and all their glory is like the flowers of the field. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of the Lord endures forever. We had a late spring where I live in the woods, so I was waiting for a long time for those bushes to start getting some leaves on it, to get some grass so it looks better, there's less mess, and it came. And we know it's not going to be there for a long time. We know that in the fall, it's going to disappear just as fast as it came. And in this passage, it talks about us. It says all people, not some, not young, not old, all people. We all have desire to live. We have desire to live long. We try to eat right. We try to exercise. We try to do, everything right. We listen to our parents, because it says in the Bible to listen to your parents, you're going to live long. But we don't know when our time comes for the end. In 1967, in Soviet Union, there was a guy named Vladimir, last name Komarov. And at the time, Russia was in a race with the United States for arms and for space. And they were launching another rocket to the space, another satellite. He was lucky guy to go. They had 7 test launches, 4 failed. And he still went. It was his second time going to space. Right after the space shuttle went up, they knew something was wrong. They knew it was going to collapse. So at a certain height, they told him to eject. They had a cap where he was sitting in. They had to eject, and he was supposed to come down with the parachutes to come down safe. And from very high up, there was enough time for them to communicate. The parachutes never popped. That mechanism never worked. And they all understand here on Earth that the guy's gonna die. You're coming down in a certain speed, you're burning, and some say that even Nikita Khrushchev, he was leader at the time of Soviet Union, he was on the air with him. He said, Vladimir, we're gonna give you Medal of Honor. We're gonna put your name on a stone. You're gonna be remembered forever. They were able to get his wife on the air. One marriage, surprisingly. They've been together for a long time. It's a good family. They loved each other. She said, Vova, I love you. It was a good time with you, and whatever things she had to say. And what they heard back is kind of scream of his soul. He said, I want to live. I want to live. No matter how much glory you have, how much fame, how much education, there are times in life when death comes unexpected. And our church experienced that not long ago. I was very shocked by it, and I kind of motivated to say this word. Not long ago, I ran into my classmate. I graduated from Bellefonte in 2002, and I don't see too many classmates around. I don't see guys that I went to school with. I don't see too many guys. We fixed up cars together. We ate lunch together. There's not too many left. So I saw a guy at the Sheets, Brian. I'm like, Brian, how you doing? I haven't seen you for such a long time, since 2002. What's new? He starts sharing how he has a little remodeling company. They're doing repairs on the houses. And I'm like, where is everybody? Where are the guys? He said, Tim, honestly, I'll tell you that much. We were eating lunch together in high school, so we had a table where we sat all together. And a bunch of American kids were with us, a lot of friends. And he said, a lot of people is gone. I'm like, what do you mean is gone? He said, some committed suicide, some in jail, few guys OD'd, overdosed. There's not too many people left. And I'm 34 years old. I know he's 34. And I'm thinking, we all have desire to live longer. We have plans. We graduated school. When I graduated high school at 18 years old, I'm like, what am I going to be doing? You have plans. You go to college. You kind of imagine your family, your husband, your kids, whatever's going to happen in your life. But we do not know when is that last day will take for me individually or for you. I keep telling that to my kids. It doesn't matter how old you are. I tell that Dan, my daughter, you could be 10 years old. You could be 15 years old. You could be 30 years old. Why do we always wait? Not everybody's going to make it till 70. Not everybody's going to make it. From my class, there's few guys left from what I understood that I knew. And it really puts tremble in my heart to talk about that. We're going to read a verse in Luke chapter 12, verse 16 through 21. Jesus was talking to a crowd of people, and men walked up to him, and he had a question about wealth, about will, after their parents died, and him and his brother, I guess were debating over it, how to do it right, and Jesus told him this parable. The ground of a certain rich man have yielded an abundant harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones. And there I will store my surplus grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you, then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. You know, we've been in the States for 21 years. It flew by so fast. And I notice more and more how the devil works in America a certain way where he wants you to get in this hamster wheel. Right now, Sheila family went to Kazakhstan and they told us to watch their pets. Little fish in the bowl and a hamster. I never had a hamster. So every night he gets out, gets in this wheel and just keeps spinning, spinning, spinning. And I realized that a lot of it is our life in here. A lot what I hear in big churches, people preach on success. People like to hear that. Good health, good family. The whole institution, the whole understanding of American dream is for you to graduate, to get a degree, get a good job, enjoy your life till you're 40, get married at 45, have kids, you know, have good retirement plan. And that's been preached a lot in this country. And another thing that I noticed is how much they hide the effect of death. We don't see much until we get the tragedy or we go to funeral. I remember growing up in Russia, I was 8, 9 years old, just like my kids. And every time you come home from school, we walked. We didn't have buses. Since you're 7 years old, I had to walk 11 blocks. You're walking back from school, and they have funeral service. You know, they got a big casket and a guy laying there. The music was ridiculous. They had those, you know, trumpets with such a sad melody that brings, you know, goosebumps to you. And every time you walk and you realize, man, death is real. I would run to home, hide underneath my bed, because I was afraid of the whole funeral and how tragic it was. The whole feeling of death to be real. What we see a lot here, it's so, person dies, they slowly come, pick him up, dress him up, put a makeup on him, and then even when you see somebody dead, man, they look sometimes better dead than they looked alive. And it's a true reality. There was the real feeling of a death. And I guess that gives you thoughts in your head. You think more about it. This thing is real. You know, sometimes it might happen to me. We had a kid that was in the winter in his school, you know, bad crowd. What they did, they skipped classes, and they were hooking behind the buses. And I don't know what's the right English word for it. I'll say it in Russian. Они цендрили называлось. So they would be on their shoes, on the icy road, you know, 5, 10 guys behind the bus. Like, think about Karabas bus in downtown. You have 6 guys behind, and everybody's skipping classes. And what happened is bus was coming to the stop, and guys had to unhook, and one kind of stumbled. And my mom and dad, they were riding in the bus that they were hooked behind. And they see that guy kind of stumbled, and another bus pulling behind him, and he let it go. And Mom said, I couldn't watch. I just closed my eyes. He was going underneath the other bus, hit the head of a bumper, and right before a wheel ran him over. Dad said, I kind of closed my eyes so I couldn't see it. It was real effect of death. Whole school were having this ceremony of a funeral, you know, they put him in a red casket, the red flag. It was, I don't know, the end of Soviet Union still at the time. It was real feeling. Knowing that, talking about that, this guy that we read about, he was a good farmer. He had a good field, good harvest. So I'm thinking he did his part really well. And God did his part really well. Think about it. If he only planted the seeds for good harvest, and if God wouldn't give the rain, if he wouldn't give the sun, right, weather, he would never have so much outcome. So at the end, he's saying, instead of thanking God, instead of giving back, instead of get rejoiced and get rich in God. And he says to himself, this is what I'll do. I will break down my old barns. I will build bigger ones. I'll tell to myself, take life easy, eat, drink, marry. And I was thinking about this parable many times. I heard it in church many times. And I kind of thought to myself, you kind of get what you deserve. I had that feeling. Well, you were a rich guy, you had everything here. And we remember another story about Lazarus and the other rich. So I was thinking, but then lately I started thinking about it. Well, that might not be the case. Maybe for that guy, it was just his time to go. I don't imagine him being old. I imagine him my age, 30, 34, good businessman. You know, we all here try hard. Hey, everybody opens up their companies, no matter what is it, construction or transport companies. He did his part well. His business success, really good. If we put in our words, education, good job, engineer, sure, he had it all. He said, I'm going to tear down the old ones. He kind of had good thoughts, but the wrong ending. God said, this very night, it doesn't matter how old you are, they will take your soul and it'll be gone. You're done. You guys ever asked yourself this question? I know the people don't like to ask them a question to themselves. If we would ask it to ourselves every day, we would be in a different place. If I die today, I walk out and I die. What am I standing in front of God with? What do I bring with? What do I say to God? I know how to play guitar. I wrote a couple songs. Is that it? What do I say? If it's today, we plan so much. We plan to do more for God later. We had a magazine in Russia when I was a kid. It's called Tropinka. And I still remember parents read it to us. I read it. And there was an article there, journal, like a cartoon, you know, the pictures, and you read underneath. Tell me, what's the word for it? Comics. Yes, comics. Thank you. And there was a picture of a baby, you know, baby with a pacifier, and it says, too young to serve Lord. And there's a picture of a two loved, you know, boy and girl sitting on the bench, heart on the top, and all romantic, and it says, two in love to serve the Lord. Then you have a guy like me in mid-30s, something, has a shovel in his one hand, and he's digging the backyard or something, огород копает, right? I'm sweating tears, and he says on the top, too busy to serve, Lord, too busy. And then old guy, already laying, can't do anything, too old. And then grave, too late to serve, Lord. When you ask yourself, what if it's today? I remember Colorado Columbine shooting. The girl was 14, 15 years old. She was in high school. High school, those two guys that walked on, psychos. Who knows what were in the head, but what did they ask her? Point blank, gun to the head. Do you still believe in your God? Even right now. They knew she was Christian. That's a testimony from kids that survived. And she said, I still love you, and I pray for you. Pooh, shut her. What do I stay in front of God with if my life ends tomorrow, today? We get carried away, and we put things behind. We kind of want to change tomorrow. Today in the morning service, ladies were singing a song about, you know, tomorrow. We always put everything tomorrow. We need to start live today. Win today. Win temptations. This feeling of wealth in America, feeling of success. Devil was tempting Christ with it. He showed him all the riches in the world, all the kingdoms, all the money. Have this, just be in front of me. He does same thing today, especially to young generations. It's not easy to talk about yourself. It's so easy to talk about somebody. It's hard to talk about yourself. When I was a kid, here it goes, right? When I was a kid, I was always in making money. I was always into having some sort of work, business. I remember when I was 8 years old, I'm walking to school and I stop by at this little store they call Larki at the bus station. I buy some gum. I'd buy gum, I'd buy some fireworks. You know, those kasichki, they put them together, you could break them off and have one separate. And I sell it in school. While I'm in school, I'm selling it in school. All kids are chewing gum. You hear fireworks blowing up during the class in between, and I was causing trouble, but I was trying to make money in the way I can. I come home, I make some money, you buy some sodas, and you bring home, you feel like, oh, you know, I helped Dad, you know, I brought some food to the table. And I was growing older. I got my first job when I was maybe 11 or 12. I was working for a guy, he had a wood shop. And they had those little wood knobs that needed a hole right in through, right in the center. It was for hanging the coats, для вешалок. So he had like a big bucket of those knobs and machine with the drill bit. You take a knob, you put it in and make a hole, put it back in a different bucket. So he paid me like 2,000 or 3,000 rubles for one big bucket. I'm like, yes, you know, I have a job. I could start making money, finally. I was doing that. We came to America, I was 13 years old. Well, me and Alex, mowing grass, shoveling snow. You have land of opportunity. You gotta start your own business. Do whatever we can. In the ninth grade, we get a job at the farm. Goats farm, ridiculous job, stinks. You had to, you know, so many goats and you do your thing, but you're making money. You're like, you know, I'm going somewhere. I got a job, you know, thank God. We get a job at the restaurant later. We were cooking for a long time. This and that. Farther down in life, maybe after graduating high school, I was talking to my friend Dima. He lives in Virginia, I think DC right now. And me and him talking, and honestly to each other, we say, you know what? By the age of 30, I guarantee you I'm going to be a millionaire. He told that to me. It sounds funny, but we did that. You guys never do that? No? You never buy Powerball and you dream over a ticket. Oh, man, what if I hit it? It's only $1. No? I did that. And we'd say that, you know, we're going to do it, you and I. And things were going good. Those who know me, I bought my first car when I was 14 years old. And till today, I had over 400 vehicles, just buying, selling, buying. So it's been going good for me, but I'm not attached to that no more. I start construction. When I dropped out of Penn State, guys were doing so good in construction. I'm like, I should have my own company because I'm going to miss the opportunity. There's a chance to make money. I'm going to be doing it. But through all that, through all those stages, yes, you're a kid, you're a teenager, then you're youth, and you're already older. Heart is not attached to God. You kind of do your thing, you go to church, you pray, you sing, you go to choir, but no true relationship with God. All right, construction, here we go. Job after job, командировка after командировка. And we're doing a job in Harrisburg. One Monday morning, early, very early, we show up to a job site, me and Dima. He has an Acura Integra, very beat up beater. Drives good. If Roman Maslow hears that I talk about Acura Integra that bad, he'll be disappointed. But we come to a job site early in the morning and material is not there. It's in almost Carlisle, PA, no, Harrisburg. We get so upset. We're like, you know, you get up 4 in the morning, you breakfast, you drive for almost 2 hours. You came, you're ready to work. I tell guys, you gotta go back. We can't work today because material never come. Dima got so upset. He was very frustrated, very mad. And we sat in the car and driving back home to State College. He's driving car. I'm in the passenger seat in the front with laptop open playing pinball. Nothing. Do you guys play pinball? Pinball? Yeah, fun game. I don't expect anything. I'm just sitting. We're kind of bummed out. Nothing goes right. And on 322 by Halifax, many of you know there's an area where that Statue of Liberty, mini Statue of Liberty, is standing right in the Susquehanna Creek. Somewhere there, maybe a little bit before that, I'm sitting playing game. He's flying 120. He's changing from right lane into left lane so quick. A trucker ahead never thought we're going that fast, and he changed right in front of us. And we're right there hitting him in the back end with maybe, if truck's going 60, we're going 120. We're hitting a concrete wall at 60 miles an hour. He hits the brakes so hard, I drop my laptop, and I see we're going to hit the truck right now. I'm like, no way. But what he does was just kind of swerves the steering wheel to the right. I don't know, I would never do that. That's what he did at the time. And our car started drifting sideways. We start passing the truck sideways. You guys ever watched the videos where Arabs drift in their Toyota Camrys? And I respect them much more after what happened to us. We're passing the truck sideways on the right lane. The truck's going 60, we're going 100 sideways. Clouds of smoke, rubbers burning. We're passing, and I'm sitting thinking, that's it. I already see the opposite traffic behind us already stopped, so they're kind of watching what's going to happen. Show is on. And I'm thinking, that's it. Guys, your life doesn't fly by your eyes. You have no time for that. I don't know. It didn't happen in my life. I have a moment to pray. I say, God, if this is the time, I'm sorry. I want to meet you in heaven. That was last what I thought. We're passing the truck sideways all the way to the front wheel, and we hit the truck in the front wheel. If we would have hit the truck underneath the trailer, he would just jump us over and we'd be hamburgers, right? And we hit it in the front wheel, and because wheel was spinning, it kind of sucks us right in front of the truck. And here's that huge truck, and I'm sitting here with this door this thin, and it's ending, and I'm like sitting here. I know already we're kind of safe because he didn't go over us, but shaking. We stopped. He tried to start his car, and it's never shut off. It's already running because he's trying to start a running car. We're all in shock. We pull up to the sides. Tires are all messed up. They have those big bubbles on it. I couldn't say much. I just sat down and waiting for cops to show up. He was talking to a truck driver. And then later down, we're driving home, and he asks me, Tim. I'm like, yes. Did you pray? I said, I did. I prayed. I asked God to forgive me. I'm like, did you? He said, no. Like, what did you thought? What's going to happen? He said, all I thought if it's going to hurt or not. I just didn't know if it's going to hurt or not. After that time, I knew God left me here for a reason. I hadn't had kids yet. I was married. I was maybe 8 months into my marriage. Rihanna, then Roman, there were no there, nothing yet. I'm like, I could have been gone already at 23. That same day, I could have been nothing. I'm like, God left me alive for purpose. But after that time, honestly, I want to be honest with you. I like that you guys look at me, I look at you back. You know how we're waiting for rapture? And we always think God's going to come soon. And I heard stories from my parents, from great parents, how we're always waiting, how I stopped waiting that much. I thought the rapture could come to you today. Like it came to that rich man. It was his time to go. Maybe he had cancer. Maybe it was something, heart stop, stroke. It's a parable, but those things happen. We get carried away. And the fault of this man was not because he had successful business. Nobody tells you you can't have a good job. Nobody tells you don't do that. Everybody said he was not getting rich in God. Recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, I listened to Caleb a lot, and they said on the radio that lots of celebrities commit suicide. There was a wave of celebrities committing suicide. And I asked to myself, God, why? You're a celebrity, you're set, you have house, yacht, cars, whatever, everything. No joy. no happiness, no future, no tomorrow. There's nothing. Nothing holds you. Just committing suicide. Things the devil offer you here on earth, they don't last. Man, time flies by quick. Couple more things. Joy is not about our success in life. It's not about what I drive. It's not about where I live. It's about assurance in your heart. If I am gone, where am I at? And I have something at age of 30, at the age of 15, at age of 50, to bring with me the treasure for heaven. You have something. That's joy. You guys heard of Henry Ford, right? The guy who built this huge era of cars, Fords. And they say that in Michigan, that's where he was from, he was driving to work every morning on the same route, same very route, and he saw a guy fishing in the creek every morning. He's just there with a hat on and fishing. And he saw that every day, and that irritated him. He says, oh man, I gotta stop by. He was young at the time. I gotta stop and give that guy a lesson. I gotta talk to him. I have knowledge. I have company. I have corporation going on. Ford, thousands of vehicles. Michigan, at the time, was heaven of cars. And the one time he scrambled that busy time, and he made few minutes to spare, to stop, and he did. He stopped by, and he walked up to a guy that's fishing every morning. He talks to him, what are you doing? He says, I'm fishing. Yeah, I drive by here every day. You fishing every day. You need to do things differently. He says, why? Well, you need to buy a boat. The guy looks at him, okay, and then what? He says, if you buy a boat, you could catch twice more fish in one day, sell it more. And then when you have more fish, more money, you could buy a bigger boat, and you could catch even more fish. And the guy looks at him, and then what? What do you mean? Then you could distribute fish. You could take it to super centers. You could get rich. You could be successful like me. And then what? The guy looks at him. And then you could be happy. You could enjoy your life. The guy looks at him and says, sir, what am I doing right now? And this guy, he said, I wanted to give him lesson. It was from his journal, from Ford's journal. But I got lesson back. For some success, it's not factories, it's not success financially. You have peace. God gives us peace. It's not always this busy life that would get me closer to God. And I'm going to end soon. And the last days of Steve Jobs, we all know of Steve Jobs. We're all, 21st century, iPhones, iPads, iMacs. He was a big guy, big shot. At the time, when he was here on Earth, he was the richest guy. They were competing with Bill Gates. He was the most successful story out there. And he had cancer. They did kidney transplant for him in 2008, and that stretched his life for 2 more years. But that didn't help. He was dying. And I was reading his book. It's a long book, 14 hours audio. At the end of his life, why I liked him, why I even listened to that book, because he was a simple guy. I liked how he wore always same jeans and a turtleneck. You guys know why he did that? He said, that way I don't have to worry about what to put on. Different suit, different outfit. You got to wear Versace, this, that. And he was a fancy guy, That's what I read his book. And he said, right now here, I'm in the emergency room. I'm in the hospital. I'm looking at the machine, the oxygen machine that gives me life. I see the blinking light of that machine, and I realize my life tied to that machine. As soon as it shuts off, I'm done. I'm dead. And he knew. He was a smart guy. He knew he's dying. He knew he's going out. And he said, I wish in my life, not the billions, not the Apple Corporation. He said, I spend more time with my family, wife and kids, and I would seek more for God. Every soul, somewhere deep inside, he needs God. That's how his life ended. I don't know if I missed anything else, but before we pray, I want to ask us to pray today that, guys, it's not about if you're 70, if you're 60, it's about being ready. You could be teenager, you could be kid. We all battle every day in our way. Every day is a battle. We got to win. We got to win daily. And the devil tells us, it's so hard to overcome something, addiction. How can you live without that? Day by day, win today, win tomorrow, and that's how God helps you every day, and keep going with that. To be ready, not to concentrate as much. I'm not saying not go to school. I don't say don't have business, don't go to college, do all that. But get rich in God first. Have relationship, have need for God. Desire Him every day in your prayer, in your fellowship time with Him. We're going to pray today. We're going to ask God to keep our church together, families together, to help us be ready when He calls us home. Amen? Помолимся.